Now, the popular South African TV soap Laan recently surprised their viewers with their very first gay kiss on national TV, an event that was of historic significance in the program's 17 years of existence. Now, the story recently presented a new character, their very first transgender character called Genevieve Dupree, and she arrives on the scene at Hillside taking part in the Miss Full Figure competition, if you will. Now, in the studio this morning, we're joined by Dionne Bali, who plays Genevieve, and it's so good to have you here in our studio at the brink of what I think is a very exciting part of your career, taking on acting. But firstly, tell me about how this opportunity came about for you, where Laan asked you to be part of the cast.
Oh, thank you, Kat, for welcoming me. First of all, I got an inbox randomly from Karen Retief, who does the castings for Laan. So she inboxed me and asked me, would I like to audition for this part? And obviously, I first thought it was a hoax. So I didn't reply at first, but then she left the number afterwards, and I called the number, and people were like, Laan, good morning. And I was like, okay, let me just call you back quickly. So I screamed first, and then I called them back. Then they asked me to send in an audition video. I did so, and within an hour, they called me back and they were like, you got the part.
Yeah. And did you know immediately what it is that your role was going to encompass on the show?
Not really. I think I knew it was a transgender character, obviously, and because I'm an activist for LGBTI rights, I didn't think twice, because I didn't even know what the journey was going to be with Genevieve, because she's quite the drama queen. But I grabbed the opportunity with both hands.
Yeah. And then you being an LGBTI activist and having heard or maybe perhaps read or seen the reactions about that first kiss that happened between two men on Laan, what were your thoughts then about the reaction you might receive from the public with regards to the character that you're playing?
Yeah, I obviously knew it was going to be difficult. I obviously knew what I was letting myself in for. But then I think also that it's sad that in the 21st century that we still have these old ideological ideas about how a man should react or how a woman should behave. And I think we should start to move forward, because I think we at an age or at a time we should not look back at these things. And it's actually quite, I don't know how to explain it. It's quite an emotional thing for me.
I'm sure it is. And what do you think of the producers taking bold steps like this, allowing people from the LGBTI community to be on this national platform where they can, I guess, live out their realities and allow people a moment to actually see into that? What do you think of that?
The fact that there's negativity and the fact that people are reacting emotionally to this issue means that it's a groundbreaking issue, and it's an issue that is long overdue. I think it's discussions that is long overdue, that we had to talk about a long time ago, but I think South Africa and Africa is ready for more characters, LGBTI characters, and I think they're doing a great job on Laan.
As a transgender woman yourself, how much do you contribute to what is being said about the LGBTI community in terms of what is portrayed by your character on the show? Do you have creative input? Do they allow you to voice your opinion on, certain stereotypes that you're trying to address, some of the more important issues that you're trying to address?
Definitely, because first of all, we didn't want it to be over the top, because I think people have this perception that a transgender woman, you can put a transgender woman in the same sentence as a drag queen, where it's two different things. Drag is an art, and a transgender woman is a genuine woman. So they actually allowed me to give creative input on her clothes, on how she looks, what she wears, on some of her lines even, because some of the lines were quite camp in the beginning, but we toned it down a lot.
Yeah. Tell me about your own personal struggles of coming to terms with who you are, and what that moment was like for you when you realized that you can no longer live in this facade that people might think of you as, and that you do actually need to be yourself. When did that moment happen for you?
It happened a few years ago, and I think it opened a lot of other doors opened for me emotionally, and I think things in my life just fell into place as soon as I accepted the fact that I'm transgender. Because I think it's a struggle for a transgender person as well as any LGBTI person, to come to terms with the fact that you are actually born this way. Because people put a lot of things out there about how a man should behave, how a woman should behave, what is male, what is female, what is straight, and whatever. But I think it's important that you remember that when you're born in this wrong body, or when you have another sexuality, that there's nothing wrong with you. It's absolutely fine. It's part of nature.
Yeah. You say a few years ago. I want you to tell me more, about that. How long ago was it? And then also some of the more, I guess, harder questions that you had to deal with. And that's why I want to know exactly what it was that was happening in that moment. What were the questions that you were asking of yourself? The question that you perhaps were asking of your family and your friends around you in order to find definition in this moment? What were some of those questions you were asking?
Well, about 4 years ago, I suffered from depression. So I was quite depressed, and I came out as being gay at first, because I never knew what transgendered was. I just thought, okay, if you're not straight, then you're gay. But something is different, something is off. But at the end of the day, I went and researched a lot and understood that this is actually what I'm feeling, that I'm not a gay man. I didn't want to be a gay man. I didn't want to be a man at all, because I felt like a woman in the inside. So it was quite an emotional journey for me, but I think I'm learning to accept myself more and more every day. And it's just beautiful.
And this is something that, of course, is not just prevalent in South Africa, but all over the world, and especially on our African continent, where members of the LGBTI community are being persecuted and sometimes to the extremes of being killed, and all kinds of atrocities committed against them, where people do not understand, people are ignorant of the facets of what it is to live in this kind of world. What would your message be to all those viewers that are watching this on the African continent and throughout the world as an LGBTI campaigner?
I think we should come to a point where we just accept one another. I think Africa is known for compassion, but how far does this compassion go? Does it just go up until a certain class or a certain sex or a certain gender? We should be compassionate towards every single person. I may not necessarily agree with somebody's religion, but obviously I respect their religion. I'm not going to go out there and bash them for their religion. I'm not going to go out there and bash them for their beliefs. And that is where we need to get to in Africa, that we accept people and understand that there are different types of people. You don't necessarily have to agree. It's just respect, that's all.
Is there any work that you're doing right now, or perhaps a platform where people can reach out to you if they're looking for help, if they're looking for advice, if they're looking to ask questions about themselves and perhaps are going through the same journey that you went through in the past? Where can they reach out?
Well, Africa as well as South Africa especially has a lot of organizations, NGOs, working on LGBTI rights out there. But if they would like to contact me on Facebook, or if they would like to write an email to me, they can do so, and I can refer them to anybody out there at the end of the day. So my email address is dioneoliviab@gmail.com, and they can also find me on Facebook at Dione Bali.
Yeah, and any other producers out there that are looking to shoot your next big role.
Exactly.
You're looking. I mean, how are you looking at it right now? I mean, you're a teacher doing acting. Where do each of these lie? Are you looking more at acting as your future career, or teaching?
You're putting me in a difficult position, because I still have to go to work tomorrow.
This could be your shot right now.
I still have to go to work tomorrow, but I think either or. I think I still have a lot to give to the acting, but I also think I have a lot to give in the education part as well.
Yeah.
So for now, I'll see where this road leads.
Yeah. I say dive into the acting, win a couple of Academy Awards, and with all that experience, then come back and teach.
Who knows,
How about that?
hey? Softer too.
There we go. Dione, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations once more with the success that you've achieved so far, and good luck on your journey.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff. And as you heard, of course, you can follow Dione on social media at Dione Bali. And of course, what wonderful work she is doing as not only a member of the transgender community, but also an actress on one of our most popular soapies here in South Africa.